What is up, comfy people? Welcome back to another comfy live stream. Pure Friday vibes. Pure Friday vibes. I love that, Raymond. Yeah, it's a chill Friday, and what other way to spend a chill Friday than to vibe noting. Play on words, vibe coding, vibe noting. This is a stream that I've wanted to do for a long time. Um, by the way, my name is Phil, also known as Machine Delusions. And in this stream, we're going to dive into custom node building, specifically with vibe coding. I'm still going to go through a lot of technical stuff, not too technical, but give you guys like a foundation of what a comfy node is, how it works, common problems you'll run into when creating nodes, things to look out for. And I also have a example pack that covers a lot of really useful things for creating custom nodes in your guys' workflows. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? All right, am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am. I'm so tiny. I'm tiny in the corner. Wait. Yes, there we go. Yeah, so today we're going to be exploring some of the common things we can do inside of Comfy for vibe coding custom nodes, as well as some other interesting features that, excuse me, have been implemented into Comfy recently that'll like really level up the UI game, in my opinion, and really allow for you guys to create some custom plugins, essentially, not even nodes, like plugins that complement or add functionality to Comfy in itself. So let me get the full screen demo going here. Nope, and that's not the one either. Do I want this one? I believe it's this one. Aha, that's what? Come on now. Technical difficulties with Restream. Guys, it's my first day on the job, I swear. Okay, so the first thing I want to dive into is I've created a custom node example pack. And in this pack, we are going to be touching on a few things. Pull this up again. We're going to be touching on UI elements based inside of nodes themselves. So you can see here it's fully dynamic. We're using JavaScript as well as Python. And if I run this node real quick, so we have an image out, we also have a string. And if I run the node, oh, we get an error. Interesting. Let me clear this and load them back. Let's see, preview. Oh no, we actually have an error on this node. So interesting. I swear this was working like 3 seconds ago. No, they're all failing. Let me go through. See, this is good. Let me go through and bug fix my mistakes already. So yeah, let's dive into basically what we got here. So we have clear the canvas, load the nodes. We have JavaScript elements and yeah, fully dynamic on the custom node. We have image batch, so showing an example of batch tensors and how to handle tensors within Comfy. And for those of you who don't know, a tensor is basically just like image data. And we have progress bar examples, super needed and useful. Not a lot of nodes have this functionality. It just gives you, the user, the ability to not only see the progress of like longer processing image manipulation and other things, similar to like how the K sampler works, right? We see the green bar kind of go across the top of the node here. Um, that's probably why actually that node doesn't exist. Aha. Okay, so we're good now. So yeah, and then the last example is just like basic string manipulation. So let's start with this first node. So yeah, like I said before, we have a fully dynamic UI here based in JavaScript, and the outputs are an image and a string. And let's show the text. And it's very simple. It basically displays the color you've picked as an image resolution and the hex value for the color. And then the next example is we have the image batcher. And like I said before, this is just handling image tensors. So this simple node, essentially, we run it, we get one picture. We, at five, we get now five images in the batch. And then the progress bar example is also very, very simple. What this node does is simply display and show you how progress bars work inside of Comfy. And so I've set it to 100 iterations. We can see it. Well, we should be able to see it down there, but we don't. And we've got our finished icon. And then this one is just a simple hello world text displaying string data. And the last very, very cool feature, then you guys saw me use it right at the beginning, is the ability to um, add side panels, buttons, widgets, whatever you want to call them, to the sidebar here. And we can code UI functionality right inside Comfy and always have it as a custom node. So if I delete all of my nodes here for a second, and I click this. This is a UI thing that I put together called Node Pack Loader. And if I click this, we get another sidebar panel. And this used to be a node in my node pack called FL Node Pack Loader, like such. And I can just search for node pack. So if I like right click and add node, all of these nodes here. So if I type in, if I click fill nodes, all of these like subdirectories of categories, um, this sidebar and this node is looking for all these things and essentially will load all the nodes response or associated with each category. And so, for example, if I come over here and I search fill, I get fill example nodes. We see that there is a node count of 5, and then I can set my columns, which is basically like a visual thing. So if I just leave it at 5 and hit load, well, it loads all 5 of our nodes. And so I basically have coded that functionality into a sidebar because I think it has no business being a node, right? Like in the old days, yeah, we didn't have this nice sidebar where we can add like pop out drawers for us to add UI elements, but now we do. And so I decided to put it in here because it makes a lot more sense for me to always have that quickly and accessibly to be like, KJ nodes, and now I have all the subcategories of KJ nodes, and I can type or I can click images, and boom, we have 49 nodes in this node pack. The reason why I built this specifically is because 49 nodes, there's no way I'm going to go node dive and like see what's even available in this node pack. I want to visually see it, right? I want to be able to just like at a glance be like, oh, okay, that's what it does, right? I want all of them right in front of me. And so if I, set the columns to, let's say 10, and I hit load, it loads all all 49 nodes onto the canvas. Um, I would be careful with this. If you're working in a already, you know, pre-built project, things are going to get overlaid. It's going to get messy. Definitely use this as like an experimenting and searching tool. And then I also have a clear canvas button. So this is basically what we're going to be diving into today. So I'm going to again load the fill example nodes, load the nodes, and here they are. This JS node is not actually part of the pack, which was causing me errors before. Um, you can go ahead and get them on my GitHub repo, Philip TM. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And in there, you'll see all the nodes and examples. Okay. One next thing we're going to need before we start vibe noding is we need something called hot reload pack by logtd. And this is incredibly useful for many reasons. The main thing that this pack does, and the only thing that this pack does, is it hot reloads ComfyUI so that we don't have to keep restarting Comfy to visualize our Python changes and basically test them, right? So what this node pack does is it allows us to, um, the second we hit save, the Comfy server will restart. Not restart, but refresh, really. And the code should be ready to go. So we can hit Q immediately, and the Python changes we've made are reflected immediately. Incredibly useful. I cannot recommend this pack enough. I think I've probably saved hundreds, if not thousands of hours of development time simply just not having to restart Comfy every time I make a change. And I'm going to drop this one in the chat as well because it's incredibly useful, and you should all have that. So for today, we are going to be building inside of VS Code. And specifically inside of VS Code, we want a plugin called RooCode. And it's ROO space COD, and it's right there at the top. So go ahead and install that into your VS Code. You can choose to use whatever IDE or coding method you want. If you want to use something like Cursor, if you want to use something like WaveSurf, I know there's a lot of others. Klein, at this point there's like dozens. Honestly, the concept is all the same. We want a coding agent inside of our IDE, in this case VS Code, for us to interact with through natural language and of a model of your choosing. And yeah, so once you have RooCode installed, looks like this on the side panel. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that better. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so RooCode looks something like this. You'll see like a little kangaroo icon. I have mine set over here on the pop-out panel, but your little kangaroo icon might be somewhere over here to start. And then we're going to want to configure it. So in the settings panel, this is where we get to decide our LLM we're going to be coding with. So in this case, I'm just using Gemini. It's cheap, it's fast. In this case, Pro 2.5 preview. There's tons here. You can click down and select the best one. I'm not even using the best one. It doesn't look like 5.6. There's 6.5 now. So I'm going to click that one, hit save. And then from here, before we start coding anything, let's get a good fundamental understanding of what a custom node is and how it works. So inside of our custom node example folder that I've linked, we have a few directories. We have the nodes directory, which is where you'll find all the Python files. We have the web directory, which is where we'll find all the JavaScript files. And this is everything from appearance, right? And so in this file, we are dictating the color of the actual node. So in this case, a teal top and a white background, and that's reflected as, or no, in this case, purple and white. So this is how we change appearance. Yes, actually, John, that's a absolutely great point. You can run local models with RooCode too. You're not 100% locked to anything paid. If you go over to the settings here, we have tons of options. We have Anthropic, we have DeepSeek, Gemini, all the Google models. We have LM Studio, we have Olama, Mistral, et cetera, OpenAI. So yeah, really like really choose and pick your model. They all perform differently, and the Gemini LLM models might not work. Mine seem to be working. But yes, if a model is not working, simply change it. As long as you have an API key, of course, or you're running a local model on your own machine. So yeah, from here we have the web where we have the appearance. We have like the nodes, which are the Python files, and then I also have just a workflow directory where the example workflow. We also have the init file, a get ignore, a project, a pyproject.toml, and then a README and a requirements. So let's start with the init file because this is arguably one of the most important and where uh, a lot of my first errors came when I was making custom nodes. So the idea with the init file is we are importing our Python files. So in this case, .nodes being the directory of the nodes folder, dot being the directory, nodes being the name of the folder. And then I'm importing FL example hello world. So if I go here, it's right there. And then we're also importing the class from that file. So if I go to the hello world, the class name is right here, and we are importing it right here. So that's the first thing. And you can see it's happening with all of the nodes. The next thing down is we have node class mappings. And this is basically telling Comfy what are the nodes, like what am I actually importing? So same kind of vibe. I literally just take this and paste it here with the in quotes, colon, and then the same vibe with a comma at the end. And then again, all the way down. And then we have node display mappings. Now this is the actual name of the node inside Comfy. So in this case, fill example hello world. If we go back to Comfy, we see fill example hello world. So that name would be right there. So if I were to just like change this to like honestly anything, just like 4 exclamation points or something and save it, it should hot reload. If I like scroll down to my Comfy instance, yep, hot reload pack reloaded the Comfy fill example nodes. And so now I should be able to just refresh Comfy. And now we see the exclamation points illustrated here. So that's the init file. I'm just going to change this back, save it. Hot reload will do its thing. All I got to do is refresh. Boom. And we're back. The next thing down the list is we have the web directory. This is where we set the directory for all of our front end elements. So in this case, dot being local, like relative path, and then web, which is the folder name. In this case, where I have all my JS files. And then this is also really important too. Um, I yeah, just add that to the bottom, basically. So from here, that's like the base structure of how we even get Comfy to instantiate custom nodes. The project, the PyProject TOML, this is how we get our nodes into the manager, the registry, basically. And so that when we go over to Comfy and we go to manager, custom nodes, and I type fill, they will eventually show up here and be designated with a description. So I have this huge description here. I have the version number 1.6, et cetera, et cetera. And if I were to go to fill nodes for a second, custom nodes, fill nodes, project TOML, it's all reflected here. So here's the description at the top here. And we also have, let me zoom in here for a sec. Yeah. We also have the version number, any dependencies, the repo itself, et cetera, et cetera. So that is the project TOML. And now let's dive into some of the actual code of the node. So let's just do the example hello world because it's really, really clean and simple. We have a class. We have a little, basically a descriptor or comment. We're initting itself or defining itself, the definition. And then we also have the inputs, the required text being a string, multi-line equals false. So if I set this to true, oh my God, please, and save that. Come back over here, refresh it. Now, so now we have a multi-line where I can have one. And then, the default text, the return types. This is where we return the actual like variable that Comfy is expecting. So in this case, string, all caps. If I go to the image batcher, it would be image and string because we're returning both. And then we also have the function, which is run. So the function basically is what happens when you hit Q. So in this case, it's just run, right? It's literally just returning uh, plain text, you said, and then text in this case, which is defined here as string. And, on the custom node, we write the string. So it returns whatever you typed. And that is like pretty much the baseline of what's needed for a custom node. Now, the color picker is a little more complicated. It's got a few fancy things that I have kinked out over the course of a few months. But the idea here is the JavaScript and the Python need to talk to each other, and it needs to, when I change a parameter on the front end, when I change a parameter here, I'm doing this purely in JavaScript, but the second I hit Q, it's translated into Python, right? And so the two need to essentially talk to each other, right? So when I make a change on the JavaScript and when I hit Q, that change needs to be reflected in the Python side of things to essentially, reflect what we have done, basically. And then for the progress bar, if we come down over here, we've got P bar. I think we're importing, yeah, we're importing ComfyUtils at the top. And then in the actual run function, which is, what happens when we run the node, we are leveraging the ComfyUtils, which is internal Comfy. This is something that I didn't write to display. And basically, we've created a loop, right? So run the loop, update the P bar, run the loop, update the P bar, et cetera, until we've hit 100 basically, or until the job is complete and it moves on to the next node. And then on the JavaScript side of things, there's a few other things to look at. We have to essentially import the scripts app.js, and this is allowing us to register an extension. Am I back? Am I back? How much did you guys miss? Somebody tell me. I apologize, guys. I apologize. I don't know what happened there. Maybe there's a hotkey in Restream I accidentally hit. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peter, for that. I apologize. I apologize. Yeah, I must have hit a hotkey. I didn't even know I can mute myself in Restream. But yeah, we missed a ton. 10 minutes. Oh, don't tell me 10 minutes. That's too much. That's too much. Like 5 minutes? Okay. Okay. Well, guys, the example workflow has everything we need. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Guys, I'm getting all sorts of wrong reports. The example workflow that I provided has like everything we need to really start. So let's just dive in. Um, Chat in the comments. Give me some examples. I've been struggling thinking all day like what could we vibe code? Does anyone have any cool ideas or interesting things that we can tackle? Nothing crazy, super complicated. Uh I want to get to the I want to finish it. I want to finish it on stream. Shoot me some examples of things that we can vibe code. We could do like visual effects. We can do um yes, so Neko, the example workflows are in there. I just linked them one more time. They're in the chat. And so the first thing we're going to want to do the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to go to root code. In this case, I'm using Gemini, and we're going to basically instantiate the whole instance, right? And so I'm just going to do take a look at this repo and give me an overview of what it is and how it works. A node that mirrors an input image. We can do better than that. So at the bottom of root code here, we actually get this button, and the first one says code, the second one says ask. Switch it to ask mode if you don't want it to actually start writing code. And so basically what I've done here is the first thing I asked it was take a look at the code and just tell me what it is. Like I'm forcing the LLM to essentially go through and look at the whole project in full and give me its overview of what it is, what it does, and essentially like what all the files are and how it works. While it's doing that, I want to make sure. Okay, I'm going to close this for a second and reopen it. And we're going to go open. I'm going to go custom nodes, example nodes, open. And we're going to open this back up and go to root code and then go to our chat. Okay. We're going to resume the task. It's quite simple. Takes input frames and splits the frames where the scene changes. That's a good one. Pedro, I like that idea. This is a good example. I like that. It's really useful now that we have video models. Basically, we're going to try to make a scene detector. A scene detector should be pretty simple to make. And I think we can do it on stream pretty easily. So I'm going to make a new terminal here. And we actually have two terminals. We have the Comfy instance itself running, and then we have our custom nodes running here, just so everybody knows what's going on. So, okay, let's switch it back to code mode. And it's like, let's say, I like to brainstorm before I actually write any code with the LLM. I like to hash out all the problems, so I as a user get to dictate and like make educated decisions and not just have the LLM run wild with whatever it thinks it wants to make, right? And so if we're going to make a scene detector, I'm wanting to make a new node that takes a batch of images and detects that oh my god, I'm having a brain fart right now. And text the oh my god. Oh geez. To make a new node that takes a batch of images and finds the scenes and cuts the how do I want to do this? Because Comfy doesn't handle batches of batches very well. So maybe it'll have to be like a directory, right? Finds the scenes and cuts the scenes into um, batches and saves them to a specified directory. Um, what's the best and most efficient way to do this? What else? We want to render the results of each scene as an MP4 and yeah, and save them to a specified directory. I love this. This is a great comment. Tell it to take a deep breath before it acts, and it will do better, so I'm told. I feel like I need that advice sometimes, you know what I mean? Okay, so we've got a mermaid diagram here, and it's going to be describing what it thinks we want to build. So I'm going to zoom in here for a second, and what do we got? Proposed workflow, image batch, output directory, file name prefix, markdown list, and some work. Okay, that's just like a bug, I suppose. Okay, so it wants to use FFmpeg. I actually don't want to use FFmpeg. This is why we have a conversation. Create a scene detector node, yada yada, register the new node. Okay. Let's use OpenCV instead of FFmpeg. I think that'll work better. I don't like FFmpeg. I don't know. Like, I always have problems with it. It's just not my favorite. There's tons of other Python libraries that do like basically the same thing. So yeah, let's switch to code mode and proceed with the OpenCV implementation. So yeah, root code's going to switch to code mode now. Yes, approve. And so now we're actually going to be coding a node. So we're going to add dependencies, image IO, yeah, scene detect. Yep. Pedro, I think you mentioned that in chat. That's what you were using. And what do we got here? We've got the scene FL scene detector and we have an input image, output directory, file name prefix. We have a threshold, frame rate. Yeah, okay, sweet. So now let's go back to, yeah, so that's what I thought. We need to start pip installing some stuff. So let's go pip install this. And what else do we need? I think that's it. Python main.py, start the server again. If requirements are needing to be updated or things need to be instantiated upon Comfy like running, or sorry, like booting up, we'll have to restart the server manually. The hot reload won't actually save us in this instance, but it looks like our example node's loaded, so I think we're good. So you can hit R, and it should, boom, pop up right there. Now, interestingly, notice how the color uh didn't like pick up. And I noticed this right away. I don't know if any of you guys caught it, but if we go back to our code and we look at the name, the class name of the node, it doesn't start with FL example. So that's why the appearance isn't loading. So again, this is why I try to go through at the beginning and just kind of like show you a little bit of the layout of everything. Um, but let's fix this. So in our init.py, what do we got? We got the FL scene detector. I'm just gonna copy FL example. I'm gonna copy that, and we're gonna just put that right at the start like that. Copy this, and then paste it there, paste it there, paste it here, and then I think that should be good. Let me save that, and then also paste it here as our class name. Double check that it reloaded. Yes, it did reload. And now I should be able to refresh. Nope, we still didn't get it. Oh, I think I have to replace it. That's why. Scene. I have two of them now. Interesting. Okay, that's the one I want. I guess I have to actually reload the page. Okay, let's try it. So, Jess and okay, well there's no scene there. Let me see. I don't even know if I have something on my computer with a scene. I'm on my laptop right now. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, maybe I should have tried to find to see if I actually have a scene. Actually, I have an idea. This is great. We can actually use the nodes that we already have built. So we can take the color node and we will duplicate this 60 times, and we're going to make another one, and we're going to change this to yellow, and we're going to duplicate that one 60 times, and then we're going to uh, uh, match them. And so before we connect that, let's just make sure that it actually did the thing. Oh man, I made a GIF. Why does it default to GIF? 30 FPS. Okay, well, it looks like it worked regardless. Yellow or green, or sorry, blue, yellow. Great. So technically we have scenes. I mean, for the sake of it, let's just make another one. Let's make two more. Update this, copy this down, boom, boom. This is so overkill for this example, but it's so fun. Teal, red, and this can be 4, and then this can be 3. So now we will have blue, yellow, teal, red. Perfect. Grab a YouTube movie trailer. That's not a bad idea. Let's see if the node actually works before we like put it to like a real world test. So we're gonna put this in scene detector, and then that should be okay. And threshold 27, frame rate 30. It does no outputs. I see. So we need So this is actually a good time to the prompt has no outputs, right? This is a great error actually to run into. This error basically means that the graph doesn't have an output, right? And we need an output to run it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our code and we're going to add another variable here at the bottom. I believe it's output, or is it this one? I can't remember the exact syntaxing of it. Fill nodes. What node would have this? Hmm. One of my nodes has this. GPT caption. Where's my GPT caption node? Text. Vision. No. Where's my caption node? Caption saber? Aha. Output underscore node equals true. That is what we need. So now if we go back to our code and we put that right here, output node equals true. We save that and it should have hot reloaded. Let's just double check. Yep. So we're good. So now, boom, it runs. No output needed. Okay. String object has no attribute frame size. So let's go grab this error and say, yo, Gemini, WT hell, dude. You made this, you fix it. Yeah, the reason, yeah, the question was, could you use the core save WebM node? The reason why we're saving it to a directory is because we have multiple scenes, right? And so let's just take a movie trailer, for example, right? If we have a movie trailer, and obviously there's going to be more than one video, so we don't want to save the whole video. We have multiple scenes, right? And so we just want to dump all of them into a directory, essentially. Because right now, Core Comfy doesn't have an elegant way to handle like many videos in this case. Okay, so it's made some changes. Looks like it hot reloaded just fine, and now we can run it. And so we are getting the same error attributes. That string object has no attribute frame size. Oh wait, am I missing a variable? That might actually be what's happening here. Scene example scene detector frame rate. No. Sometimes when you're in the process of doing this, what happens is it'll add a variable like a widget on the comfy oh iMac, you didn't mean that. I apologize. Sometimes what happens is like if it's editing the code, it will um it will like add a variable to the actual node itself. And if you didn't refresh the page or you didn't reload the node or whatnot, it'll throw errors being like you're missing something basically. I just wanted to double check it wasn't that wasn't the case. Wait a minute. Am I believe I think I pasted the error in the wrong spot, to be completely honest. I definitely did. That's hilarious. Hmm. Still receiving a file path instead of a proper video object, despite the previous correction. This can sometimes happen with hot reload mechanisms where the changes are not picked up correctly. Aha! So maybe our hot reload is actually screwing us in this example. So in this case, I feel like we should let this finish, kill the server, fully restart Comfy, and rerun the node. Sometimes, like I said, the hot reload is really useful, but we have to reinstantiate all of Comfy for the changes to fully take effect. But hot reload, I would say, like catches easily, you know, 70% of what you wouldn't have to reload. Hmm. Don't apologize to me. Don't be sorry, be better. That's basically how this goes. So for the sake of this, let's kill the server and rerun it. This is my stripped down version of Comfy. My real version of Comfy takes like ages to load. Looks like we're not loading the node correctly now. I think it's in the middle of a change. Sometimes it doesn't give me a visual too, which really bothers me. Just spins. Mm, I don't like that. Okay. You're doing things. You're doing things. All right, now let's spin up the server. No, we're still failing. Why are we failing? No module Koopy. That's not for our nodes, I don't believe. GL accelerate. And then this one is can't import. I see. So I think this is actually a naming convention problem. Double check all this. Hey man, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it's not a vibe. The vibe coding, the whole vibe coding thing. I think it's glamorized, but man, when you build something complex and it works and you've, spent a few hours and you're really happy with the results, it's empowering. It's incredibly empowering knowing that you can build the pieces of the puzzle. And did we reload? Yes, we reload. Well, actually, it failed to reload. It failed to load, period, the first time. So let's just once again restart the server. Okay, great. So now we're loading in. So refresh this. That node is going to be missing, expected. So now we go FL scene detector. Okay, so now we have it back. And I think my name change actually messed it up the first time. But so frame rate 30, thresholds is fine. Run it, batch it. Video stream CV2 does not support the context manager protocol. What in the Lord? Hmm. This is some dependency stuff for sure. I've never even seen this one before. That's interesting. This also may have to do with the fact that I am on a Mac, and there are some things that just like fundamentally are different, and we have to approach them in different ways. And so when I'm developing nodes, I definitely have to test on both. It's so hard. It's so hard to build custom nodes and just know that like there's three different OSs out there that people are going to be using this on essentially. Um, oh, I think it worked. Okay, so it successfully did it. Let's check the terminal. Looks like it did the thing. Detected. Okay, so it detected splitting paths. What did it do though? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's go to the outputs folder. And where did it put it? Google Drive. It should have put comfy output scenes. Comfy scenes. I do not see a scenes folder in here. Oh, okay. So here we can see, yeah, Max, yeah. I do have a Windows machine. My Windows machine is not on me right now, but developing remotely is even worse. So I'm developing on a Mac right now. And you're right. Sometimes a Mac does cause more problems, but the trackpad. I just love the trackpad. So we have a scene. We have our scene cut folder. There's nothing in here though. However, okay, output scenes scene.mp4. So it did compile something. Maybe I'm just like not looking in the right place. I'm gonna nuke all of this. I don't need any of it. Let's run it again. Actually, let's define ourselves where it's going. Then we know for sure. So I'm going to copy this and get the path name, put it here, run it. And it did it. Hell yeah. But now it looks like we only got 3 scenes. So it didn't detect the difference between the yellow and the teal. Yeah, it looks like the yellow and the teal is the only one that failed. Okay, so that might actually be a threshold thing. So great. So the node is actually working. So now we can go back and like actually start to tweak the node. Be like, great, the node worked. It compiled the MP4s and it compiled the MP4s. However, I notice that the detection isn't as accurate as I'd like. Let's use a mixture of methods to ensure we get an accurate frame perfect split between the scenes. Let's ensure that the efficiency of our splitting is good, mainly for CPU usage. I like to do this. Obviously, you can dictate like GPU usage over CPU usage. We're actually going to add that in. We're going to add in a toggle. I've actually built this node before, not to like ruin our parade here, but I believe I believe I do have a scene video cut detector, I believe, right? Yeah. I've actually built this node before. And so in this node, I did something very similar. There's a mixture of detection methods, right? In this case, hybrid. I'm using or histogram and intensity, which I'm using both because they're very important. I actually then coded in a worker amount so that I can parallelize like multi-thread, and then downsampling the detection is great. Like I basically take the video, I downsample it, detect all the scenes, and then apply those cuts to the real footage, the non-downsampled, and it's much faster. And then of course I also added the GPU acceleration because not everyone has a GPU, and then in this case I'm on a Mac, so um, yeah, like the things that I honestly just had to like go through and slowly build up. Okay, so what did it do? Let's zoom in here. I've enhanced the scene detector, now provide more accurate and efficient scene detection. This allows detect both gradual content changes, fast cuts, fades, resulting in more accurate frame perfect splits. Downscaling, aha, see, it's doing the downscaling factor. Will significantly reduce CPU. Loom only when enabled, the option performs detection on luminance, brightness. Okay. And then, yeah, so now let's refresh this. Let's see what's up. Okay, so one thing to note, when you start adding parameters to nodes, right? We've added like three widgets here to our custom node. It's always better to reload it, like literally reload the page and then go search for it again. Because if we cross-reference these, this one seemed okay, but sometimes what happens is like the downscale factor, like this variable will be put up here, right? And like the actual hyperparameters get like mixed around, and it'll just mess you up if you're not paying attention. And so, fair warning, always just reload the node. It's just a good habit to do when you're in development because you essentially just don't want to, you don't want to be chasing a bug that's really like something hella stupid. And so, yeah, let's go frame rate 30 again and downscale factor 2. That's cool. And let's delete these just so we have like a clean frame of reference what we're doing here. Has no attribute downscale factor. What in the what if I just one? Okay, so no, it still wants to do it. Interesting. Okay. You had to do me dirty like that, did you? And then we're gonna paste that back in here. And one second, I'm just gonna close this door. Always wants to apologize to me, eh? The other like really good tip with all this stuff is use a better model, you know? Gemini's fast, Gemini's cheap, it does the thing, but man, Claude, Claude slaps. Let's run this again, see what's up. Okay, so now we're getting a different error. So this one, unexpected keyword. Let's put this one in. It's funny. The first time I built this, I think I went through like just like all the same problems as I'm going through right now. It's one of those things that you get better with time, and also the models. Like the models just get better, and it becomes more and more, let's see, simpler to like create this kind of stuff. I've corrected the final version, applying the downscale factor. Here's a summary of the final fix. Correct downscale, yada yada. Okay, Piscine detect. Let's try it again. Nope, still wants to do it, eh? Let's try to kill the server. This might be that like the scene detect library again, screwing us up. Again, you don't want to be chasing bugs that are as simple as like you didn't reload the server. The node's loaded. That's a good sign. Refresh the page. No, we're still getting the same bug. That is frustrating. Um, Video stream CV2. So let's do a different method. Let's switch to Anthropic. We're going to switch to Sonnet 4. We're going to save it. We're going to done. We're going to kill the chat. And now, oh wait, no, we did that on the wrong instance. Save this. Anthropic, Sonnet 4. We're going to save it. We're going to kill the chat. And we're going to say, take a look. I'm getting some errors with this node. Let's address them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click or click and drag, hold shift, and then come over here to our chat box. And so when I'm holding shift, you see the plus, and when I'm not, I'm going to let go. And basically, I'm adding this to context, and I'm going to also paste the error. And so basically, we've nuked the chat. It has zero context of anything except for the file. Yes, this is actually a great point. Not gonna lie, seeing you get the runaround from the models after seeing the awesome stuff you make gives me hope. I'm not a traditional programmer by any means. I started programming 2 years ago. So the first year of me coding, LLMs existed, but it was not the tools we have today. We didn't have root code. Like I remember, I was already like well on my path of coding when Cursor even came out. So like I didn't have these tools to do this. Um, but don't let imposter syndrome um, trick you into thinking that you can't do this kind of stuff. You guys can build some ridiculous custom nodes, some ridiculous websites, software, whatever you want to build. You guys can do it with this technology if you're persistent. But most importantly, read and digest the information um, when you're running into these problems. The amount of very small, like edge case things that I've learned over the years simply by like running into these problems with LLMs, but then having the LLM like, it's like a collaborative effort. We're going back and forth. We're like, oh, you know, we're running into this problem. We have to do this. And maybe we'll try it like that and like this and that. And then all of a sudden you get it to work and you're like, you're happy. But in that process, because I was like thoroughly going through and learning. It was a learning process with me and the LLM. I came out on top with not only the thing I wanted to build, but the knowledge of like, okay, I'll probably see this bug again, maybe in the future, and I know how to address it. And I mean, like that's huge, right? We're here to not only build cool things, but we're here to learn, right? I don't know what is going on here. Got an expected keyword argument downscale. I feel I always need the sanity check, you know? Always need the sanity check. The other thing too is like, um, if you find bugs and you're like, you know, playing around and you're running into errors, you can always stop, turn it into ask mode, really get it to explain to you like what's happening, and and then just proceed. There's been so many times where I've been like building front end stuff, and I'm like, it's not working. And like, yes, it's frustrating when it's not working. However, I'm like observing, right? I'm like, I'm playing with it still, and I'm like, okay, it's broken, but like it worked in this circumstance, and and then and then basically like I explain to the LLM, I say, hey, it's not working, but I am noticing this. Is it possible that XYZ? And those things like help a lot. A lot of the times the LLM is like blind. It's like it's got blinders on, or sometimes the conversation above it is like diluting its like vision of like what's actually happening, which is why I like nuked the chat and like started again fresh. Because I didn't want like the previous basically the previous like conversation to like mess it up. And you'd be surprised, like a lot of my hunches of being like, is it possible the bug could be this? And it's like, oh yeah, and it like does it, and it's like instant, and it just works. And I'm like, you know, if I didn't, if I wasn't like a part of the process, I wouldn't have gotten that far, basically. And so yeah, it looks like we're still running into the same error here. But what if I put the threshold like lower? Okay, so it's still the 3. What if it's just 0? Still the 3. What if it's like 62? Okay. So now it's like cutting too far. So it's blue. That's still blue. This is still yellow and teal. Yellow and teal can't do it. It's like a subtle change. Wait, content threshold and threshold? Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. What does that even mean? See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm switching into ask mode. What does threshold even do? Okay. Parameters confusing, actually redundant in this implementation. Let me explain. Content detector, this is the main scene detector algorithm. Okay. Threshold detector, this is a simpler detector that looks at the overall brightness. Okay. The problem, we have both detectors running simultaneously is actually counterproductive because they can conflict. Okay. Recommendation. For typical scene detection, the cutting scenes shots, you only need the content detector. Remove. Uh, yeah, let's just remove it. Let's remove the threshold detector then. So, like you could, it didn't even pick a nice name. Threshold. Like, how am I supposed to know what that does? It's ridiculous. I love when people who don't play with AI are like, "It's gonna take my job. Is it sentient?" And it does stuff like this, where it's just like, "Oh, you want a thing that's called thing?" You know, it's like, "No, I don't want that. What are you doing?" Okay. I'm surprised that even ran because now we have 2. We're gonna have to refresh this because we've removed a variable here and frame rate 63, and we're gonna delete that, clean that up, and run it again. Okay, we're still getting that weird problem. But yeah, let's move on from now from the scene detector. You know, we can mess around with this all day, but we get the idea. Actually, let's actually go to YouTube and try to get like a movie trailer. Let's do movie trailers 2025 and Roofman. Sure, I don't know what this is. 2 days ago. And then we'll go to YouTube MP4 downloader or something like that. Paste it. Give me. I actually do want to see how it does on like real footage. Yeah, that's fine. No, thank you. Too loud. Okay, so we have real footage now. Let's go back to Comfy. Close all this crap. And VHS upload. We'll put it here. Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. And yeah, let's see how this works. Frame rate 24. Let's force it to just 24 flat. Frame rate 24. Yeah, I guess. Let's clean the folder and let's run it. Wait, did it work? Oh boy, 3,500 frames. I have to nuke it. There's no way. There's no way. No way I'm letting that go through. Okay, let's let's just do like 200 frames. By the way, if anyone actually wants a good scene detector, like I said, I did build one. It's the video cut detector, and it's in my fill nodes. But wait, it's starting. Okay. Okay, 200 frames. We're gonna do every second frame just for the sake of this, and let's see what happens. It's pretty quick, I'll tell you that. Okay. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Do we have any bleeding? So something with scene detection algorithms that I find is like the bleeding of like the last frame, but it looks super clean. It missed this one, missed that one, missed that one. That's pretty good. That's crazy that it even got that as a shot, honestly, because that's like a transition. And that's a solid one. And so is that. This is pretty great. I would say that that vibe node is it's a pretty good success, honestly. Now, like, what if I bring the threshold down? Will it like do more or less? There's still 7. What if I do it like 50? What's the okay? The highest was 100 here. 50. Okay. Still 7. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm okay to move on from this for now. Um, so we have a scene detection. We built a scene detector, which is kind of cool. And now let's build. Actually, let's implement the progress bar. We didn't implement a progress bar into it. So let's go back to our code. This one should be a nice simple fix. Let's do this and be like, here is an example of a progress bar. Let's add it to our scene detect node. So we're importing the comfy utils. It's going to put the p bar in the loop, hopefully. Put the p bar in the loop. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So now I'm just going to roll this back like that, and then we're going to refresh this because UI, anything that you tweak with UI, going to have to refresh the page, just FYI. Set that to 20, and okay, let's run it. Do we get a progress bar? We instantly killed the server. Okay, why did we kill the server? Uh, okay. No attribute width. I'm going to disable all these. Ooh, that's loud. Okay. No, it's killing it. That's weird. So I've run into this problem before where the placement of the loading bar is actually messing up like the loop of Python execution. When the node runs, it actually kills the comfy server. Let's revise our loading bar method. Okay, the comfy server is crashing due to an image processing on the server code, likely to how the progress bar is being used. Yes. Double check the thing is, oh, right, I didn't even start the server. Okay, start the server. Yes, the progress bar is that we've made no progress. Nah, it's all good. Oh, look at that. We got a progress bar. Boom. Nice. Love it. Love to see it. So we've got our scenes. We now have progress bar loading. If I just switch it to, yeah, progress bar. Feels good. Saving all the MP4s. There they are. Okay, excellent. So that's great. Now, what could we do? What could we add? Hmm, hmm, hmm. I feel like the scene detector's kind of run its course. Let's let's vibe code in the sidebar for a minute. I think this is a really fun one that not I honestly I haven't seen anyone. I think there was only one person I've seen make a sidebar panel, and it was MTB, who's been a very active developer in the community for a long time. They make some awesome stuff. Go check out their nodes. But yeah, let's like vibe the side panel for a second. I feel like we can do some really cool stuff. So this one is also available on my GitHub as well. If you go to my GitHub, this one is called the fill node loader, and we're basically going to just use this as a template. So same idea. It's really, really simple. Um, Way more simple than a scene detect algorithm. But that one looks like node loader. Let me zoom in here. That one looks like this. So we have a web. We literally have two files, really. We have the init, init.py, which is literally nothing. It's literally empty, basically. And then we have the Node-Pack sidebar, which is a lot of JS. And same idea. We're basically importing some core functionality from Comfy. This is all in Comfy's docs, by the way. They've updated their documentation on both Python and JavaScript, as well as like available widgets and things we can build. But we're basically going to use this as a template for building something else. So same idea. Gonna just double check we're on Claude. We're gonna we're gonna code right in the Comfy terminal this time, which should be pretty simple. So yeah, fill node pack loader. I'm going to shift click it. Where is it? This one. Shift and be like, take a look at this custom node. I want to make a new one. I want to make a new custom node pack called, we'll call it comfy UI underscore fill example side panel. And this will be a hello world JS project. Cool. And that's the other thing, guys. I uploaded all of the custom node examples as just examples. If you want, we all in our Comfy instances have thousands at this point, honestly, nodes that we can just copy, like take the code and be like, hey Claude, hey whatever, hey LLM, check this out, let's make changes, right? Oh, I love how the person did this, but I loved how that person did that. Let me just boom, and like now you're smashing other people's work together. This is the beautiful thing about open source, right? Is we're standing on the shoulders of giants constantly. We don't always have to reinvent the wheel, right? There are a lot of projects out there that are like 60% of what we need, and we just need to like add that other section. Does this part use Vue? Emacs says, does this part use Vue? And for anyone who doesn't know, Vue is like a framework for JavaScript. Lots of websites built with Vue, kind of similar to like I believe like React is like parallel to Vue. It's like a, or maybe it's like a part of it. I'm not sure like where the branch actually splits, but to answer the question though, I'm not 100% sure if this part uses Vue, but it could. Like we are working in the web, right? We are working in web development when we're doing anything JavaScript related, especially in this context. So like I I feel like we can use anything we want as long as it renders in the browser, right? Okay, so it did a lot of stuff while I was blabbing there. So like let's what did it even do? Okay, so we have assets, hello world. We just have a markdown. Okay. We have the web file. Yep. We have the hello world side panel, JavaScript, creating elements, creates the container, the header. Looks like the style sheet's all in here too. Um, some HTML. Uh, the inet's empty. Made an example. It literally wrote me an example JSON. I did not need that. I kind of want to load it. Well, I wonder if it'll load. It probably won't load. Okay, custom nodes, date modified, example side panel, workflows. Where is it? Example JSON. Nah, of course it doesn't load. High hopes, high hopes. Okay, when you are building side panels or anything like really like JS heavy, and it's the first time, you have to rerun the server because it needs to what's the word? It needs to instantiate like the oh my god, brain fart. It needs to instantiate register the extension that you just had created. So if I had refreshed there without restarting the server, we wouldn't be able to see it. But I believe, let's see. No, I don't think so. I don't think it worked. Okay. Hmm. 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 I'm gonna zoom out here for a second, just some more screen real estate. Also, I'm gonna get rid of this. We don't need that. And okay, the side panel widget is not loading. Let's strip it down and make it very basic. And let's ensure we're using this file as a template and example. And then I'm going to link it with the actual node loader web. This one I'm like like this sidebar stuff, like I'm very new to. I made the sidebar like a few days ago. So I haven't like fully gotten to really like explore what we could build with it, You- Modifying front end stuff is just so much fun. It's incredibly fun, especially when like there's like a whole section here now where it's like there's some standards and we can like add some buttons. Like I was even thinking you could have like a whole like photo p, honestly, for anyone who doesn't know, photo p, it's basically like browser based Photoshop. um all of this can be in there, right? So like I've actually built it into my node pack where it's if you just like load an image, load image, load image, and then you right click the image, and then you go to FL Photo P. This is something I've already implemented here. But again, like I didn't have this side panel functionality that I did before. Now I do. So, if I do FL Photo P, it literally loads Photo P, and I can close this, or I should Photo P, and start using Photo P. And so now I'm literally uh, inside, and do it again. What? Come on, dude. But yeah, I can like load a project. I can like do something, select a layer, draw something, hit save, and now it's in the node, right? But that could be here on the side panel, which makes way more sense than just like on the load image node or whatever. Could just be like Photoshop, just like there, ready to go. Let's refresh, see what's up. Aha, we've got a star. I don't know what the star is, but we got it. Say hello. Welcome to the future. Oh my God. Is it just giving me, it's giving me like inspirational quotes and stuff. But this is cool. So now we have a side panel. And we can do whatever we want in here. Like, chat, I need some ideas. There's a lot of you in here right now. Give me some ideas. What should we build in this little side panel? I'm down to go for like another half an hour. We're at an hour and a half on the stream so far, but I'm down to vibe for another half an hour, and like I think we could build something really cool here. Um, give me some ideas. Give me some feedback. So Cosmic Crafter says, my biggest fail with the Frankenstein coding was trying to add a scripts input into your K-sampler, like how the efficiency nodes work. Yeah, this is something that I've definitely wanted to tackle too. Simply because it's so useful, right? Like build a framework that has like a sidecar, right? And then the framework is good, and then the sidecar is just scripts that you can just like, bang out really quickly and then just integrate into the framework. Galactus says, yeah, AI is a good tool, but it tends to imagine and reuse failed code, even if you tell it that it's wrong and not to do it. Yeah, I totally agree. Not in every case, but definitely in a lot of cases. Um, a great way to combat this is example, you know? Always like work off of example, and kind of coming full circle for a second. Open source is full of really great examples and things that maybe are close to what you want but like not there, but it works, right? Like people tend to commit stuff to GitHub that for the most part works. Maybe it's not the best code, but it should work to some degree. And so I always give LLMs examples, even if it's like bare bones, like whatever. The other thing too is documentation. If you're building something, there's nothing stopping me from going to things like just comfy, yeah, no, not comfy deploy, uh, comfy org, just comfy org, and then we can go to where's the docs, comfy org, docs, yeah, yeah, here we go. Yeah, there's nothing stopping me from coming here and literally like scraping the entire page and giving it to the LLM and being like, here's everything you need to know. Like you can't mess up because these are the docs kind of thing. It will still mess up, obviously, but it helps. It helps a lot. Comfy LLM side panel. I like that idea. That's a good one. Created text input that can be accessed from the canvas. Emac, I think you're going to have to elaborate on that one. I'm not sure I understand. Create a text input that can be accessed from the canvas. So you're saying like like a node on the canvas that also is like linked to the sidebar. So it's like I type in the sidebar and like the other thing updates or something. Not sure. Um, Add a small image input or output folder browser. I mean, yes. See, again, another node that I had made. What was it? Image. I think this is loader, right? No, FL load image. Yeah, like this thing, right? This file browser. This should be in there, 100%. Um, I wonder. I wonder if. Can I access? I think I can access local directories from here. Um, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take this load image. I think this is a good one. This is actually something that I would use. Let's take this load image node, which is basically just a file browser, right? I can click on, let me see here. I can click on outputs. Oh, I don't even have anything in the outputs. But basically, it's just a file browser. Let's go find that code and let's try to implement it into the sidebar where you can just browse your like your computer directory, look at images, honestly, look at all files that, I mean, that would be nice, right? Look at all file types. And then what would be really nice is if I could get it so that like if I click and drag, we can like have a load image on canvas or something. Oh, I see. Where you can create a control panel on the side panel where you have the main inputs you want for your workflows. I see. So you can like dedicate like master inputs of both text and I would assume image as well. Maybe integers and floats. Yeah. Yeah. I get the vision for sure. That one's like I've definitely done that one before in like a weird rigmarole fashion. I want to revisit that one at a later time because that's a great idea. But I have the code for the file browser, and I think that would be a really fun one to just try to get in quickly because it's already like mainly flushed out already. So fill nodes, web. I'm gonna steal. Where is it? Load image. This node is massive. This JS file. I mean, it's not that big, I suppose, but like I don't know, 600 lines of JS for just like a file browser is like thick. But I think it'll work. I think we can do this. Okay, cool. So let's just take this and we'll put it into context, collapse all this down, clean it up, and then side panel. And then we'll be like, great, it works. Actually, let me put this at the top. Great, it works. Take a look at this code. This is a file browser that I built into a custom node. It allows the user to create favorites, browse images, and load them. Let's implement the browsing functionality as well as the favorites into the side panel we just created. Hmm. Let's make the UI clean and modern. And be sure to clean modern and be sure to I could build it in a modular fashion. It may help us. I think a monoscript like a monolith script is fine. Uh okay. Yeah, let's do that for now. Another great tip when vibe coding is be incremental, right? Um, trying to like one shot the entirety of like pretty much anything, honestly. Website, software, custom node, like trying to one shot any of it in just like the first go. It's just not going to work as good as you think it should. Anyway, this is going to be a thick boy. Talking like 4 C's, thicker than the 7 C's, dude. So yeah, Galactus says I've created a file folder selector tool. Since ComfyUI is not very friendly in that task, could you do something simple? Can you do something simple for that task? File folder selector tool. Yeah, I mean, definitely hit me up on Discord, Galacticus. My name's Phil in the Comfy org Discord, as well as yeah. Uh, I'd like to like peep at that. I always love seeing what the community is building. And this is why I love doing this stuff, guys, because I hope that you guys go build some cool stuff, and then I randomly stumble upon it, or someone else shows me, and I'm just like, yo, this is awesome, right? And the circle of life continues, right? We're just here building on buildings, basically. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, so it did a lot. We're gonna refresh and hope it didn't break. Okay, we have 2 folders now. Okay, just change the icon. Enter directory path browse. Browse does nothing. Favorites brings me to favorites. Okay. Okay. Well, what did it do? What if I select that and copy as path and I put it here and I go add to favorites? Favorites? Add to favorites. Favorites plus to add. It doesn't do anything. Oh no. Okay. Um oh, I see. Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. I mean, it technically it did the thing, right? Like I'm going back through now I'm on my desktop. Now I'm at the base user. Okay, well, let me give it a directory that actually has pictures. Uh, keeps, temp, temp. Can I copy? I can't do that from there. Downloads? Okay. We're gonna make a new folder. We're gonna get just a picture, and we're gonna put it in here. And then I'm gonna copy this folder path. Okay, so it actually does the thing. It actually loads the pictures. Nice. When I click it, it selects it. I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay. Okay, technically it did the thing, but we need to tweak some stuff. So what we need to tweak is I want to browse like directories, not just from a single line. favorites does work. That's cool. Um, what if, can I paste this back here? Add it to favorites. Browse. Add to favorites. Okay. Favorites. I can go to my desktop. There's nothing there, but I can go here and then browse. No, that doesn't work. Favorites kind of works. Yeah, I'm kind of confused. This is what I'm talking about, right? Like there's bugs, but they're like conditional bugs. So, okay. Okay. All right. I've seen enough. So, um, we're actually going to close out of this custom node thing for now, and we're going to work out of here. Great. Zoom in, and we're going to be like, great. This is a solid first implementation. There's a few things I want to change. First off, I want to be able to see the files I'm browsing. Basically, like a normal OS file browser. Um, yeah, I mean, like let's start with that, honestly. Right now, it requires us to start from a directory instead of being able to browse our machine. Do we want that? Yeah, I think I want that. Oh, it's going through. It's doing the thing. What is it doing? See, like when the project's when the file gets like this big, we'll get it to a point where we're like okay, we're like decent with it, and we're like happy with it. But I'm going to break this file up, and I'm going to modularize it so that like things like the file browser, things like the file browser are segregated from like the image loading and like et cetera, so that when I go to make changes, number one, I'm not like breaking things I've already built. But then number two, like the LLM doesn't need to like digest this massive thing of text every single time. It just makes the whole process cleaner and more stable, honestly, and it allows you to expand like a lot more on the project as a whole. hmm Don't edit the README, dude. We don't need the README. Okay, refresh. What happened? Too many symbolic links? Uh-oh. Oh, we broke it now. Okay, let's kill the server. Okay. Okay. Browse. Okay, we have to give it a path. I guess let's give it downloads. No, I don't want it. This one. Weird. What if I give it? What if I give it go computer? Yeah. What if I give it my whole hard drive? Click home to start browsing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Too much data. Downloads, path name. Whoops, god damn it. Weird. I don't understand the favorites thing. I click the favorites and it doesn't do anything. It's so strange. I feel like there's a permission thing that I'm like running into right now. Definitely a permission thing. Knowing Max. No, I don't want a slideshow. Yeah. Yeah, see, like we don't see the pictures. What's the console saying? Oh, a lot of nonsense. That's what I see here. I don't even know how much of this is my stuff. Process is not defined. Load root directories. Okay, well, that's good information. We'll take that. Yeah, all of this is good information. We're going to take that and we're going to put it here. Yeah, when you're front end development, I believe it's like function F12, on most computers brings up the console for the browser. This is like your best friend. This is where you're going to see anything front end browser related, not Python, just visuals and just JavaScript, TypeScript shit. The console in the browser is your best friend. So we have to build an internal API, I guess. Yeah. I knew it / didn't know. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're talking, dude. Nice. Okay. This is, I mean, hmm. Root. Documents. Okay. Home. Okay. We're getting closer for sure. Uh, Bad requests. Nice. I love to see it, honestly. Great. I see a lot of navigation um indicators showing me where to browse around my machine. However, I'm getting a lot of errors and none of the folders seem to want to load. And then what does it say when I load one? It says pictures, browse, error loading directory, please check name. Okay. And then so when when I click browse, I get this error. However, however, if I do this and copy that, put that here, that one does load. I wonder if I can like, yeah, I mean that's for later, but this is Windows. Okay, well, I just noticed that. Yeah, you can barely see it here, but it's like, oh god damn it. If I click this and then yeah, if I scroll down here, it says like, yeah, Windows, Linux, Mac OS. So I mean, yeah, I mean, they're just placeholders for now, basically. Oh, buddy. Well, I'm gonna keep going with this. Definitely on my own time for sure, because like I think this is gonna be really cool when it's like fully flushed out and in working order. Guys, a lot of stuff happened in this stream. We we had some good times, we had some bad times. But times were made and a lot of possibilities with custom nodes, front end and back end. We built the scene splitter. I went over a lot of good tips and things to keep in mind when you're vibe coding or just coding in general, honestly, when it comes to custom nodes. Python is a very powerful language, and you can create a lot of really interesting and unique nodes that honestly are specific to you and your workflows. A lot of the nodes that I create are out of necessity, of my own needs and creations, where I'm trying to do something like very specific file loadings and very specific save methods and calling like Hugging Face APIs, upload and download. Yeah, all sorts of things like that. When I hit the problem, when I hit like the thing, I sit down and I code the solution, right? I code the node, I code the thing, and then when you have it, when you finally get it working, you have it forever, right? And now it's a puzzle piece in the larger scheme of your Comfy workflows. So I highly recommend uh, look at the shortcomings. Look at your workflows and start to see things you do often or are not like efficient, and create some custom nodes for them. We tackled some pretty ambitious projects on this stream. The scene splitter, there's a lot of ways to do it. The way I did it is not the only way. That was a pretty solid go, and we did get it working. We didn't even touch the JS side of the things that you can build inside of a node. Much more complicated, definitely more complicated, but I've given the examples. Again, on my GitHub, Philip TM. You can find it in my Discord bio. There's a link there to my GitHub. The Phil example node pack has the color picker that has all the JS inside of the custom node. Give that to Claude, and you can really start messing around and playing with things you can build inside of a custom node visually. We got to tackle the sidebar. I'm honestly so stoked on the sidebar. The sidebar one's going to be really fun. So I can't wait to see where that goes. And yeah, I had a lot of fun on the stream, guys. Thanks so much for touching base and coming to hang out. And I think it's a long weekend. So, guys, have a great long weekend or a weekend, depending on where you are. And we will catch you in the next ones. Peace.